Hello, everybody, and welcome to my ranking of all the WWE PLEs of 2023. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't go back and watch every single one, but I looked at Cage Match and I looked at what matches happened and remembered a few segments if I could, just seeing what was going on the show. So, we're going to start off with the worst and the best. Now, all these are good shows. I don't want to say that they're bad, but they just had less good than the other shows because all these shows are better than Super Showdown 2020, for example. So we're going to start off with the worst pay-per-view, but still good, the PLE SummerSlam. Now this is bad, not necessarily just because the matches weren't great, but it had a lot of high expectations going in and couldn't really deliver. Let's look quickly back at the match card. We had Logan Paul defeating Ricochet, Cody Rhodes defeating Brock Lesnar, the LA Knight Battle Royal. It's a Slim Jim Battle Royal that he won. Shayna Baszler beating Ronda Rousey in the MMA Rules match. Gunther defeating Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins defeating Finn Balor. Bianca Belair beating Asuka and Charlotte Flair, then getting cashed in on by Io Sky. And lastly, Roman Reigns defeating Jey Uso. Now, if we look back at each match individually, very quickly, Logan Paul versus Ricochet, really good. Probably match of the night. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar, made Cody look great. Cool. LA Knight Battle Royal, good job. LA Knight looked good. Omos looked good. Cool. MMA Rules match, terrible. It was booked in a way that you couldn't like if you liked wrestling. Yes, some UFC people like WWE and vice versa, but not most of them, so nobody really cared. Gunther beating Drew was, without expectations, a very solid affair. Seth defeating Finn was also pretty solid. Bianca beating Asuka and Charlotte was pretty surprising, but the cash-in was welcome and good. And the main event was a pretty solid match with terrible storytelling and nonsensical rules. Like, before the match, they established, it's a tribal combat, so, no interference, can't have any interference, got to be a one-on-one match. Solo Sikoa interferes immediately. We chill. It just was too disappointing of a show to put any higher. Next up, we have Night of Champions. This was also a very show. It had two matches that were pretty good, and then the rest I don't really remember, because if I can't remember the match, it can't have been that good. So, Seth Rollins defeated AJ Styles for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the tourney final, which was probably match of the night. But for the last match, Trish Stratus beat Becky Lynch in a match that I completely forgot. I remember Zoe Stark was there. That's about it. Gunther beat Mustafa Ali in a match that Ali had no hope winning. Asuka beat Bianca Belair for the women's title. Rhea Ripley defeated Natalya. Just beat up Natalya for a minute. Brock Lesnar beat Cody Rhodes by referee's decision. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn retained the tag titles over Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. 2 marquee matches, and the rest was mid. Next up, we're moving on to the Royal Rumble. Kind of crazy to think that 2 of the biggest live events of the year for the WWE are the 2 in the bottom 3. That's just sad. There were only 5 matches on this show, but it's elevated above the others because of the storytelling and success of the Rumbles themselves. We open with the Men's Rumble, where Cody Rhodes won, as you should probably know by now. Then we went to the Pitch Black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, which was cool to see, Wyatt's last match before he passed, rest in peace. But it wasn't very good. It was meh. Like, the neon was cool, but it had no business being on a PLE. Bianca Belair beat Alexa Bliss in a match that I cannot recall watching, even though I know I've seen it before. Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble, and honestly better than the Men's Rumble. And Roman Reigns defeated Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn turned on Roman afterwards, setting up the Elimination Chamber. This was, again, a very show that didn't really perform up to par for being the Royal Rumble. Next up, we have Payback. Now, this one is acceptable, because this show is not meant to be good. This show is meant to, we're on our way to Survivor Series, but We need those premium events to keep Peacock happy and have some big matches where no titles will change hands, most likely. Now, yes, technically a title did change hands, but rarely in shows like this do titles change hands. We had 6 matches on this show where Becky Lynch defeated Trish Stratus in a 20-minute steel cage match, which was actually pretty good. I did a review on this show if you want to go watch it, if you haven't seen it already. LA Knight beat The Miz with John Cena as special guest referee in a very solid match. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. Rey Mysterio retained his U.S. title over Austin Theory in a mid-match that didn't really, again, have a reason to be on this show. It should have been on like the SmackDown beforehand, but oh well. And we have the tag titles changing hands as the Judgment Day beat Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in 20 minutes in a really good Steel City Street fight. That's definitely match of the night. Rhea Ripley beat Raquel Rodriguez in a very encounter. It was hyped up really well and then just kind of... It's like, oh man, look at this great match coming in. Oh no, an engine just broke. It wasn't very good. And Seth Rollins retained the World Heavyweight Championship over Shinsuke Nakamura in an okay match. Next up, we're going to be looking at Crown Jewel. I think this show had highs and lows. I reviewed it on Cage Match. I gave it a 5 out of 10. That might be a little low, but in relative to the whole WWE spectrum, that's pretty accurate. So we have Seth Rollins defeating Drew McIntyre in the opening match, which a lot of people say was like an amazing match. I honestly didn't think that, and I think the same of the WrestleMania match between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew. A lot of people say it was really good. I don't really see the liking behind it. I like all these competitors. I just don't see where this, like, oh my gosh, match of the year. Where is that coming from? This match was very solid, and Drew should have won. That's all I think about it. Rhea Ripley retained in a Women's World Title Fatal 5-Way against Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. An 11-minute match that I actually thought was match of the night. I really liked it. I think it was well booked. It made everybody look pretty strong, except Shayna for some reason. She did do that triple submission, so that it made everybody look strong. Solo Sikoa beat John Cena in a match. Logan Paul beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title, which was good. It makes sense. It's healthy. Get it on a young guy. Get it on Logan Paul. Media attention. Blah, blah, blah. Great match. Logan saved Rey from dying. Io Sky retained the Women's World title over Bianca Belair after Kairi Sane returned. I think the return was not very impactful because the Saudi crowd did not know who Kairi Sane was. I've noticed that about Saudi crowds. They know the big stars from WWE that are currently in WWE. They don't. Kairi, who? Who is that? Who is this random woman? Get this fan out of here. Why is this fan in the ring? They don't know who it is. Cody Rhodes beat Damian Priest in a match that should have been on Raw, and Roman Reigns beat LA Knight in the most boring match you've ever seen. Like, literally, this is the most boring match I've ever seen. And I commented that. I'm just going to quote my comment here. So, let me just copy this whole thing here. And I quote, as Michael Cole would say, "The Rowan match was an absolute disappointment. Given, hope is what kills you, but I had a sliver maybe LA might have a decent match, but it was very cut and paste. Here is the order. Number 1, match begins. Number 2, face gets a good start. This is LA. Roman slows the match down for 10 minutes. Step 3. Step 4, the face comes back. Step 5, there's bloodline interference. Then a spear through the barricade, spear through the ring. In the ring, Roman wins. And that is every bloodline match, every Roman match. It's just cut and paste. And it was a very disappointing showing. But the matches between Logan and Rey, Seth and Drew a little, and the Women's Fatal 5-Way put it a bit above these other matches for me. Next up, we have Fastlane. This is basically the exact same thing as Payback, except it was a little bit better. So you got Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso winning the Raw and SmackDown tag titles from the Judgment Day in a shocking upset that, in retrospect, shouldn't really have happened. It's just to give Cody a title and Jey a title, make him a 2-time undisputed WWE Universal Tag Team Champion, whatever. To do that. And I've noticed that. I would like to vent for you for a second. What they'll do is they'll have, we'll have Wrestler 1, beat Wrestler 2 for the title. 1, 2, 3, ding, ding, ding. They're a one-time champ. And then Wrestler 2 just, boom, beats him like a week later, and it makes no sense to me. Like, I get it, you're just trying to give them a second reign, but still, it's pointless. Anyways, the LWO beat Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in just a whatever match. Io Sky beat Asuka and Charlotte Flair in a match I honestly can't remember, but I do know it was basically match of the night. A lot of people liked it. I remember that there were some good things in there. I just don't remember it at all. John Cena and LA Knight beat Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa in a tag match that went nearly 20 minutes. Not surprising. It was whatever. There wasn't any major takeaways from this. Gave LA the Cena rub. Very respectable. And lastly, Seth Rollins beat Shinsuke Nakamura in a last man standing match, which I really enjoyed. I think it was really well done. And it made Seth look like a strong champ. It didn't put Shinsuke in the greatest light, but it made him look solid enough. Next up, we have WrestleMania Night 2. This is going to be the April 2nd show, Roman versus Cody. So let's look back at the Sunday card. This is also 2 points lower than Saturday on the cage match site. So we had Brock Lesnar defeating Omos. That's a big disappointment. Omos, he's my WWE champion in my figures world. So, that's the agenda. Cody, sorry for your story. Omos wins the Rumble or the Chamber, either one. Eliminates all 29 other competitors, goes to Mania, beats Roman in 3 seconds. Anyways, then there was the women's showcase match, which was way worse than the men's. Like, the men's set such a high bar, and then the women's just kind of, it flopped. Gunther beat Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in that match I mentioned earlier that I still don't get why it's so good. Bianca Belair beat Asuka in a match. Snoop Dogg technically beat The Miz. It is a match. It was okay, I guess. It was just funny. Edge beat Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell match, which was actually really good. And Roman Reigns beat Cody Rhodes in a disappointment. Not the match. The match was pretty good. It was just disappointing that Cody didn't win. Now, you could argue that that is good storytelling, but with the way that Roman's been defending the title, not really. Next up, we have Survivor Series War Games. Yes, I couldn't find a better picture for this. You get to see Cody Rhodes' lips. Survivor Series, obviously, is the most recent main roster pay-per-view. Deadline did happen a couple days ago. But on the main roster, this had only 5 matches. The Women's War Games, Gunther beating The Miz in a shockingly good match. Santos Escobar beating Dragon Lee in a match. Rhea Ripley beating Zoe Stark in a match that some people didn't like, and it's the lowest rated here, but I enjoyed it pretty well. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was amazing. Very And the men's War Games match between Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre and the Judgment Day. I didn't comment on the women's. Women's was a little bit better than the men's. Men's is a little bit better because Randy and CM Punk obviously returned. R-Truth returned. That's even better. So this show does get some upvotes. Sorry, I had to deal with my dogs. Next up, we have the Elimination Chamber. This is a very solid show that had decent matches. It is rated 8.05 on Cage Match, which is relatively good. And I do not remember the Women's Elimination Chamber. However, if not for Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, which ended in a DQ because Lesnar nutshotted Lashley, this might be number 1. You got the U.S. title Elimination Chamber, which was just impeccable. Would be match of the night, if not for Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. Astounding storytelling. Sami wasn't going to win, and we all had false hope going into that match. But it was fun while it lasted. Beth Phoenix and Edge also did beat the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. So, a very respectable show. A match I don't remember, but seems pretty good. Next up, we have Money in the Bank. Not Mercedes. Not her, but Money in the Bank. This is actually lower rated on Cage Match. It's a 7.91. But I think the highs outweigh the lows in this scenario. So we've got Damian Priest defeating Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Santos Escobar, and Shinsuke Nakamura in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeating Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler for the women's tag titles, and Shayna turning on Ronda, which was actually pretty cool in the moment, but sad in retrospect because of just how atrocious that match ended up being. Goodness. Gunther beat Matt Riddle in a match Matt Riddle was not going to win. Cody Rhodes beat Dominic Mysterio in a match. Io Sky beat Bayley, Becky Lynch, Trish Stratus, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark in the women's Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins beat Finn Balor, and the Usos beat the Bloodline after Roman Reigns got pinned by Jey Uso. Amazing storytelling in the final 2 matches, honestly, final 3, and great storytelling in the men's as well, with LA hoping for that win, but unfortunately not getting it. Next up, we have WrestleMania Night 1. This show was marginally better than WrestleMania Sunday, as we have the following. There's one bad match on this entire card. So we have Austin Theory defeating John Cena in that one bad match. The Street Profits beating Alpha Academy, Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and the Viking Raiders in a men's showcase match, which was very, very good. Again, it made the women's look abysmal the following night. Seth Rollins beat Logan Paul, which was pretty good. KSI got frog splashed. That was cool. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus beat Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky in a match that was cool in the moment again, but in retrospect, what the hell was Lita going to do? She's been gone ever since. Rey Mysterio beat Dominic Mysterio in a match Dom should have won. Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship in an amazing match. Pat McAfee beat The Miz. And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beat the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Titles. Obviously, match of the night here. Got the greatest storytelling match probably in Mania history. And it made people cry because of just how good the storytelling was. Next up, we have Backlash. And this is actually my number 1. I don't have anything further than this. Backlash is my number 1 show. I think that Backlash, it paid off Mania well enough. It also had almost all the way around good matches. Now, they aren't rated highly. Still good. So let's go through every single match. Bianca Belair beat Io Sky in an astounding match. Io wasn't going to win, but it was an amazing match that really showcased the pair of them. Now, Bianca was a little rough with Io, and she kind of dropped her on her head, but Io did look really good. Bianca looked really good in the retaining. Solid. Seth Rollins beat Omos. Again, major L here. Omos should have easily won. Again, WWE champ over there. Omos for Mania 40. Screw CM Punk. Screw Cody Rhodes. Omos. Back-to-back main events. Beat Seth Rollins. Beat Roman Reigns. Unify the titles. That's the agenda. But, again, it was an amazing match. Probably the best of Omos's career. All of them are 5-star classics, but this is probably the 6-star classic. Austin Theory beat Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed in a match that was just whatever. It was there. There was no real impact from it, but it was a match. It had 2 big men. It had Austin Theory. It was solid. Theory should have lost. Rhea Ripley beat Zelina Vega in a storytelling match. It wasn't actually there for the wrestling. Zelina didn't really have a chance, and we all knew it, but it was fun, again, to hope while it lasted. Bad Bunny beat Damian Priest in match of the night. Easily a banger. Damian was putting Bad Bunny through some of the worst stuff you've ever seen. And Bad Bunny really overperformed for being a non-wrestler. The Bloodline, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa beat Kevin Owens, Matt Riddle, and Sami Zayn. It was a match I completely forgot. I can't comment on it. And Cody Rhodes beat Brock Lesnar in the main event in a pretty solid match, and it was the first time Lesnar had been pinned clean since his return in 2014. So let's quickly recap every single match, every single show. So in number 1, we have Backlash. Number 2, we have WrestleMania Night 1. In number 3, we have Money in the Bank. Number 4, Elimination Chamber. Number 5, Survivor Series. Number 6, WrestleMania Night 2. Number 7, Fastlane. Number 8, Crown Jewel. Number 9, Payback. Number 10, Royal Rumble. Number 11, Night of Champions. And number 12, SummerSlam. So that's all the WWE PLEs of 2023. What do you think? Do you think I was accurate? Do you think I was inaccurate? Do you think, SummerSlam number 1 Backlash number 0. Exactly, 0 is a number. It counts. What do you think? So let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like. If you want to subscribe, I'm chill with it. I make wrestling content. If you like wrestling content, is where you want to be. Have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever, and goodbye.